Yeah.
training. You must forgive me for my impudence, but I think there's a lot of policy. I get this feeling there's a lot of policy, macro kind of things, and I think this is best left to our very learned policy makers in Singapore. But I'm just only a humble guy. We do these kind of things, and I'm interested in a few questions if you could address. Number one, the price, of course, it says it looks at the website. So price is important, two, subsidized, and I'm sure all these we share the same passion. And number three, where is it conducted? Number four, how is this program different from the rest? I refer you to page 5 of this booklet, ladies and gentlemen, and you see that there are actually 4 different postgraduate programs. And perhaps I direct this to the director. Maybe you can let us know and enlighten us. How is this different from the rest of the others? And my very last question is, how is this program going to offer me more business opportunities as a Singapore certified trainer? And how? I mean, I'm a bit too old to join your government services, but how then for me, as I treat this as an investment in terms of time and money, maybe you can just give us more encouragement.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a helpful set of questions. I can't do the finance bit, but I can certainly. I'll tell you just one thing. Okay, and that is one of the people on the current program who's changed jobs. She now works for a leading consultancy company. She took some of the knowledge from this course, which has allowed her to make bids for new work based on knowledge that she didn't have before. And what this would give you, a set of insights, and I know you don't have them, a set of insights that would actually enable you to really be able to develop some of your practices in ways that may be surprising. So although it is true that do we cover issues to do with kind of policy? Yes, we do. But is it simply restricted to that? No, it's not. So it is really aimed at people like yourself, as long as you're open to the learning experience. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. You have to be open. If you're not open to the kind of changes that are going on and really understanding those from a different perspective, then I'm not sure we can help you very much. But on the other hand, if you are, then I'm pretty sure. You know, a lot of my work, for example, is on global value chains. And my current work is on talent management. Now, you're not telling me that what you're doing, that is not relevant to what you're doing, because it is. And do we teach it? Yes, we do. The future of work issues, they're going to be absolutely relevant to you. You know, what about the changed nature of careers? What about all the kinds of issues around how careers and processes of offshoring and new technologies are all being used by companies? And what about things like, for example, if you think about new technologies and the ways in which certain forms of work are now becoming standardized? And I'm not just talking about those at the bottom, I'm talking about professional and technical level of work. I mean, that changes how companies, for example, design jobs and how they understand talent, for example, talent issues and who's talented. So, you know, I think that we have quite a lot to offer beyond simply looking at state policy. In terms of finances, I'm afraid I can't answer that. Was there another point that I could answer?
Price, subsidies,
yeah.
Place, and then how is it different from the other programs?
Okay, so I'll let them answer that.
Yeah, I'll just add on. Okay, for the price, the subsidy, and what is the net fee that you're going to come out with, right? Shirley will mention it in a short while. Okay. But maybe I just also to highlight again the gentleman's query about where does it fit, right? If you recall, if you don't mind, I go back to the last slide.
Do you want to?
Right. All our programs are actually mapped to our training and adult education professional competency model. So each particular program, the postgraduate program, meant to serve a particular competency within a job role. So if you talk about the Masters in Training and Development and the Master of Arts in Professional Education, is very much catered to the adult educators and the training management professional. So if let's say you are a consultant, you want to master your facilitation skills, or you want to, I want to learn a little bit of how to run a training organization or consulting organization, then NTD, MAP could be for you. However, if you are in, say, a HR, thinking about, how to inculcate leadership within organization to instill lifelong learning, all right? So research-based then, perhaps the Master of Arts in Lifelong Learning suits you. Or if you are a researcher or someone want to master your research skills, we also have another one that's coming up, is Education and Social Research, a Master in Research by UCL. And for Cardiff, very specifically, like what Prof. Phil mentioned, it cuts across. These are new skills that we think, whether you are an adult educator, you're a consultant, or whether you are in a training management, or you are within an organization. These are new skills that we feel that you have to acquire to lead in certain transformation that's going to happen. Very real, although this program is launched last year, it's a fairly new program. We already seen businesses, right? Say, for example, your customer coming to you, hey, look, now the macro trend is like that, technology, demographics, all happening. Singapore government is trying to launch all these skills future initiative, earn and learn, etc., etc. I'm in the retail space. You as a consultant, what can you offer? How can you help me, right? So we have consultant coming, let me think. Maybe I help you to do job redesign, and I get all the young people come in and do retail, or then I add in service training, or you need certain competency, talent management, development to hold on, retain your staff, but staff still leaves you. Why? Because now the new demographics, the new people coming on board, the buying behavior all change, right? Buying behavior meaning retail, do you know, retail revenue, 40% comes from online. It's a rising trend, and this is the only trend that we know. There are still a lot behind that you probably wouldn't know. So if you get new people that comes in, the young people that we know from school, coming into the workforce, going into the retail, and you tell them you're going to stand in Capital Mall, some shop, stand there, look what you want or things like that, and you try to train them in service-related courses, you will not retain them. Instead, why don't you come in, knowing the trend is coming in, develop skills that will help them to say, I open up a new revenue stream for you, right? It covers online space. Then what are the skills needed for these young people coming into your customer's place to develop this competency to help them make money? So in order to do that, now probably we are still very bounded by, it should be done this way, because my MBA tells me, because my 15 years of experience tells me. But I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, the 15 years ago don't have Facebook. 15 years ago don't have social digital marketing. The world has changed. And for consultants, it's more important for us as a government body to help enable you, so that when you go out, you represent us, you help make this transformation in the workplace. That's why we bring this program. Talk too much, I know. So this is one example of the kind of potential opportunities that you might have. Yeah, and of course linking back to
Let me
this.
very quickly follow on. My other question was, how could it then provide me with more business opportunities, right, in the areas of training and consulting? Now, for example, thanks for what you have highlighted, this is something we knew long ago as a businessman. But of course, very much, a lot of our SME world and MNCs world are very reliant upon subsidies from the government's grant in the area of training. So I'm just simple guy doing simple things, right? So would this cost that Prof has enlightened, would it help us in availing my company to more jobs, such jobs, either in the area of training or in the area of consulting?
I think if you look at the current landscape,
Yes.
that WDA is trying to push through.
Yeah.
We all talk about skills utilization,
Yep.
looking at the demand, working on the demand side, meaning if the consultants now go in as a solutionist, understanding the macro environment, then looking at what are the new things that can come in and enable the organization to do transformation. I think broadly, that is a new area. Because right now, if you look at the entire training landscape, it's very much training. And I tell you, in our survey that we did, 80% of organization doing training is not about business re-engineering. It's not about new business processes that they want to go through. It's about compliance. It's about regulation. It's about starting to work, can work tomorrow. It's not about, I want to change. But however, this is exactly what we mean by, if we enable consultants sitting inside here now, with the skill set needed, you will be our so-called our clones, clone army, to go out to the companies, tell them, look beyond. Why? Because I have all this knowledge that I can impart you, all this data, all this analysis that I can share with you, why you should make the change. And then it will be your domain skills as a consultant, whether you are a trainer, whether you are a consultant in a human resource area, that come in to implement or to complement a particular execution.
It's important to say that we're not part of the government agenda here. We are academics trying to understand the changing world, right? And in doing that, it will help you to really develop new tools in order that you can actually work with people to improve the quality of their working lives, whether it be companies or individuals. So yeah, there is a government agenda in terms of skills futures and such things. That's not what we're about. Okay, it will impact obviously on your thinking about those issues, but we are quite separate in that sense. That's very important for us to maintain that kind of separation, because there's some real challenges, of course, but not just for Singapore, but these are global challenges in many respects. And we get a sense of what's going on, not only in Singapore. That's one of the other things, is the comparative perspective. If you looking at other countries and the way in which they do things, looking at other companies, that actually is valuable in its own right. Okay.
And maybe to do some selling as well. IAL, we have an adult education network. Yeah, it's also under my team. In the adult education network, we actually help our members. If you are part of this program, automatically, if you don't know, will be part of our members. So one of those benefits of being our members is actually to have certain networking, certain demand and supply kind of integration, whereby we actively will go out and understand the needs from the sectors. Then we will pump into our members and say, hey, look, there's this potential opportunity. Will you be keen? And perhaps people that has got these particular skills, you can come on board. And we do see that members come together as consortium. Because if you talk about TAE sector, it has been fragmented for quite some time. So we are trying to be more inclusive, because no one consultant can do everything. So in this new era and age is how we create the ecosystem, bring them in, and come up with certain relevant and effective execution. Yeah. So you have a question?
My name is Vincent.
Hi, Vincent.
I am from PSK Academy. So basically, I refer to the page 5. The program actually mentioned that it's relevant to WFD and HRD only. But you mentioned in your slide that it's also cut across AE and TM. TM is very into my trade. I'm basically from quality. So I'm not too sure you can elaborate on this. Where is in your brochure?
Right. Actually, the brochure may be the outdated one. When we come up with this program, or perhaps there's some changes that you need to make. The program actually cuts across. And that's the beauty of this Cardiff program.
But it's only 4 modules plus 1 essay.
Research.
So I'm not too sure whether it's have the dynamic to cut across all, is it?
It depends in your particular role. What is your role? So if, for example, even now, coming from a PEI, do you do BD or what area? BD, business development, or you do quality?
I do quality.
So your quality, training management, quality. So you look at how to bring in.
We basically are bound by trust criteria to bring international students, etc. So some curriculum audits, development, this kind of thing. And I think the skill future now is coming in, and I think will impact PEI very soon. So I thought that by coming to this course, we'll be able to match programs to levels, which might be the government objective in future to do matching. So other degree could be equivalent to a certain degree based on matching, just like what you do. Is my thoughts.
Yeah, I think your value add, if you come in, the value add that you can bring back is what does your PSB Academy now host? Your inventory, right, of courses or programs. What is it trying to serve? What are the needs currently in your space, your organization, your customer space? Yeah. So we don't do the mapping first. Now it's more like understanding what does the sector want first, your specific customer base, right? Then what do we have back end to solve their issue? And this is to equip you with the necessary knowledge to craft out new intervention, new programs, link up with government, perhaps the government policy or levers that you know the intention, and yet you also know the motivation, how to drive your particular learner. Because a particular learner coming from going into the PSB Academy system is probably quite different to a polytechnic, to a NTU, NUS, etc.
My thought is IAL being a WDA arm, right? You should actually pass message to people like us. I mean, when deliver the course, etc. Like what is government talks about skill future, etc. So in this level, maybe we got some master program, right? I think that could be a good revenue. Revenue.
Well, can I just, just because other people have probably got some questions, but just to say that we did, for example, have a video presentation because Sunju Kok was in Paris at the time for this last module. So we do cover some of the issues about skills future and where this is going, but then we put it in that broader context about changing you to think about the assumptions that you've been making about the nature of what you're doing and about how that might connect with the future of work and about changing kind of careers for individuals. So it's that context, and I think that's the great strength of this. Is that it's providing you with a vehicle for thinking afresh in a way about the kinds of things we've taken for granted in the past, and I think that's particularly important in Singapore because the model has been so strong and so successful for a long time, and it's sort of now that it confronts challenges as elsewhere, and it's giving you a chance to reflect on that and to get some understanding and some kind of data and also some kind of conceptual tools by which to think through what you do. So I think that's all.
Yeah. Me? Oh, okay. Oh, no, please.
I run a social enterprise. My name is Teresa. And I'm just looking at this course because before that, actually considering taking an MBA, it may help to drive my business.
Yeah.
But then on the one hand, I do have some academic background because I work as a research associate before doing research work with early childhood psychiatry. So tools like that, of course, will be helpful. Skills, how to analyze data, is something that I can go deeper through this course. But at the end of the day, it's like the gentleman over there said, how can I apply this to my business model and to drive the business? I don't see myself working for anybody, but more so what I'm doing and what I believe in my social mission. How can it help me in this course?
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good question, and there are a like the others really. But it's a shame we haven't got some of the students who are on the course now to talk to you, because they're probably the best people to talk to, actually. But I think what they would tell you is that it gives you access and insight into things you've taken for granted about skills, employment, and globalisation, such things, which allow you to then reflect on your current practice and to think about, well, okay, well, what does this really mean? What kind of new sort of business development, what kind of new programs? I'm not quite sure what you do, but I mean, what kinds of things can you then develop on the basis of this new knowledge? Because it is new knowledge. This isn't widely available. So yes, you could go off and you could do your standard MBA, okay? And it depends what you want to do in the future. We don't do that. But what we do is we provide you with, as I say, a set of knowledge and insights which is not available, I don't think, in any other place particularly. And that's part of our own kind of research development. It comes in part, I suppose, because of this. I mean, I've been working in this field now for over 20 years, and I've written a lot. And it's using some of that and the insights from many other people in many parts of the world to try and give you something that's a bit different.
Maybe before we go into the finance and the funding, the subsidy portion, maybe also, Teresa, share with you my personal view. I just completed my MBA last year. If you know, MBA has a different purpose. You look at the McKinsey Arena map, what's happening in the world, but MBA only touch a little bit on that, right? They use specific data from a particular sector. You go to Euromonitor, you get all the information, and you can come up with what? Come up with your competency, your KPI, your key success factor, your product, your unique selling point, how you benchmark using the base snap chart, benchmark your competitor, the customer, and where you want to be. And then this is your unique product and solution. Then coupled with resources, how to enable resources within your organization to make sure all these products can be utilized to your customer. So basically MBA is that. However, MBA doesn't touch one thing. What is it outside now? What are things that are new? It doesn't. It's just based on whatever you know, the existing data. What is your market share? Market share are historical data, right? What's your market share? Where you want to be? You want to play to win or play not to lose? What's your strategy? Yeah? So Apple actually is not play to win, just in case you all don't know. Apple let Samsung go and run first. Then they make sure they come in, I'm one step better than you. So they play not to win, but somehow they are winning. So MBA touch that. This particular program is go even upstream. Understand in your whole entire business environment, understanding the trend, the government policy, what it will drive your demand, then perhaps that will inform you on how you come up with strategy that capitalize this change. I mean, from a business point of view. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the. Okay.
Can I ask a question? So if you want to head towards the research path, you get your master in SWT, and this is contextualized to the Singapore environment, right? As I see it. And what's the path towards a PhD after the postgraduate degree?
Okay.
What's the path?
Maybe.
Research that they are looking at in the workforce development.
Yeah. Well, there's basically if you do well in the masters, and if we were to judge that you then could go on to do a PhD, we could enrol you at Cardiff onto the PhD program. I don't think you were here, but we have about 120 doctoral students at Cardiff in our school. So we've got a long track record of doctoral supervision. So if you can meet the standards and you've got a good topic, which we can work with you on, there's absolutely no problem involved.
So I'm aware of that, which is quite typical for any universities. It's nothing new, but
what's new is the scale of it.
Yeah,
the scale of what
Sure.
we do is not the scale of a lot of other places.
Yeah.
We're one of the biggest providers of doctoral training in Britain.
Oh, okay. So there's no precedent yet because I think there was one first cohort that graduated. Nobody has gone on to.
Well, they're still in year one.
Oh, they're still in,
yeah. So we're not at that point.
So can you sort of like paint a picture? Somebody that graduates, and is there any government, support in this path?
Ask.
Who can answer that question?
I can't.
I know.
I can't do the
UK,
funding question.
Who can answer that question?
But maybe we should deal with that one afterwards. Maybe we could.
Yeah,
it's
maybe
about
we-
the doctoral thing rather than the
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that all right? Because just
Yeah. Okay.
So let's look at the near term, right? Low hanging fruits. Actually, probably you want
Yeah.
to.
Okay.
Bring them.
So it's